Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. We're at episode number 1739 today. Thank you so much for joining me for it. Thank you so much to all the subscribers, all the raters, the reviewers, and especially the patrons who make this possible every day with their support at patreon.com/SW7x7. We are in atmosphere, as it were, not in the recording studio, in the goo, as the starfighter pilots like to say. We are on the streets of Chicago. You and I am across the street from the Wintrust Arena, and behind me, in front of me, is McCormick Place. And it seemed like a great place to do today's episode, and tell you that there are a lot of episodes and resources out there for guides of how best to do celebration, things to remember, best advice, best tips, that sort of thing. I did a segment on that for the Loose Cannon podcast, and I will provide a link in the show notes for that. But, as I did my little bit for that compilation episode, there were a few other things that I thought about, and I was like, you know what, I should probably say some of those things too. So that's what this episode is going to be about. A couple other bits of advice about doing Star Wars Celebration in a way that when you leave, you will be as satisfied as you can possibly be from an event that, there's only so much of it you can absorb. It is just too enormous for one person to take in. So you got to be strategic about it. I guess that would be the first step. So one of the awesome things about the Celebration Chicago app, the Star Wars Celebration app, is that it has the functionality for you to add various events to a schedule that is made just for you. It will set reminders for you, so that way if you have your notifications turned on, it will buzz at you and say, hey, you're supposed to go to this author signing at such and such time, or hey, there's this Saber Guild thing happening, or hey, there's an episode 9 panel. I'm sure you don't need a reminder about that, but you get the idea. Another piece of advice I wanted to offer has to do with meeting people that you may have had interactions with online and are getting to meet for the first time. Now, I don't know about you, but I happen to be one of those people who, if I really associate somebody in a certain context and I see them outside that context, sometimes I have a moment of, I can't remember who you are. I have one of those blank out moments. But in particular, when it comes to interactions on social media, don't necessarily assume that someone with whom you've interacted on social media, whether it's me or anybody else, and especially if it's, Star Wars luminaries of any kind, don't necessarily assume that they're going to recognize you the moment that they see you, that you cross in front of their visual radar. So when you introduce yourself, please introduce yourself completely. Like I will be introducing myself to people as, hey, I'm Alan Voivod from Star Wars 7x7, and it doesn't matter if it's people that I've seen over and over again. Well, maybe a couple people I'll be okay with saying, hey, it's me, Alan, from Star Wars 7x7. But otherwise, yeah, give yourself, a full introduction, so that way you can gloss over any potential awkward moments of, oh, maybe I should have remembered you, but I didn't remember you. Oh, and, not just me, anyone, basically. And the last piece of advice kind of goes with the scheduling thing. At least the last one I'm going to give you here is to give yourself the gift of time. So this is a pretty large facility, just McCormick Place West in general, where much of the celebration stuff is happening. And Wintrust is across the street from it. So you got a lot of ground to cover. And so give yourself the luxury of time. Don't schedule yourself completely wall to wall, and consider how long it's going to take you to potentially get from your hotel, your apartment, whatever your Airbnb is, wherever you're staying. Give yourself ample time to get where you're going, because you also might get lost your first day. There might be crowds, especially Saturday and Sunday. Oh my gosh, Saturday and Sunday are going to be insane with the amount of people that are here compared to Thursday or Friday. So yeah, give yourself the gift of time, because what you're really giving yourself is the gift of calmness, of relaxation, of confidence that you're going to be able to enjoy the experience as much as possible. Now, I do have one other resource I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to do that after the break. Stay tuned. This episode's brought to you by Audible. You can get your free trial at SW7x7.com/Audible, AUDIBLE. I've been checking out the audiobooks for Star Wars on Audible since the reboot of the canon with A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller, and everyone I've listened to I've enjoyed the heck out of. And now they're coming out with an audiobook exclusive, Jedi Lost, that's going to debut on April 30th. So the only way you're going to get that is by getting the audio version. So you might as well get a free trial for Audible and get your hands on it. You can go to SW7x7.com/Audible, sign up, and when it comes out, you'll be all set. Welcome back. So, that other resource I wanted to share. So, it's kind of a two-part resource. Here's the deal. On the Star Wars website, there is a top 10 things to bring with you at Celebration, for Celebration article that is done by Kristen Baver. Kristen, I hope you'll correct me if we get to meet at Celebration, with contributions from Andy Gutierrez, who is the co-host of the Star Wars Show Live at Celebration, and also Amy Ratcliffe, who is the host of the Behind the Scenes stage and will be for the third Celebration in a row. Congrats, Amy. And they have some fantastic advice for what to pack, including something that I changed in my routine, which is bringing 2 pairs of shoes, as Andy Gutierrez recommended, because that way, if you get blisters on your foot from one of them, at least you can wear a different pair and it mixes up where the pressure points are in your feet, basically, and so you have a chance of not putting pressure on the blisters that you already have, and it kind of, evens things out, basically. So thanks for that tip, de Goots. I appreciate that very much, and you'll see a lot of me walking around this city in this show if you are checking the video version of the show. And the audio version, well, like this one, you're going to hear a lot of in-atmosphere stuff over the next week, so stick with me for that. But for now, for today, that is going to do it for the show. And thank you so much for joining me for it, as always. And may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be, hopefully in Chicago.
Is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.